I'm back on.
All right.
Turn my volume down. There we go. Feedback.
I'm back on. Turn my volume down.
Hey guys, Maria Hagland, Houston Bigfooter. Hi guys, thanks for joining me today. I had to jump back on here. I had to leave. I was doing kind of an in-depth rant there for a while, and I had to leave. I had to go pick up my kid from work and get a quick grocery list for my wife. So I wanted to come back on here, and I don't know why this is out, folks. That's better. It'll come back in a second. A little bit of a delay. But what I wasn't able to do earlier was see chat.
A little bit of a delay.
And so I wanted to come home and
earlier
get back on here and see if I could get chat enabled. So there's a plugin with XSplit called YouTube Chat. For the life of me, I haven't really get that to work. So I brought up another browser with my YouTube page on it, and I'm reading the chat on that on the live version of that. So and looking at it, it's all kind of out of focus. I don't know how you guys see it. If it looks okay to you, it looks kind of out of focus to me. But anyway, as long as you guys can see it, that's what's important. I'll move this over here real quick. That looks a little better.
It looks kind of out of focus to me, but anyway, as long as you guys can see. That's what's important. I'll move this over here real quick.
Steve Dingman, we're going to talk about this IMAX film. Absolutely. You want to talk about it? Ask me a question. I talked about it quite a bit in depth here a few minutes ago. And of course, I did a breakdown on this.
Ask me a question.
A little bit of history. This first popped up 7-8 years ago. It was footage that was accidentally filmed during the filming of this documentary called The Great North. And when it first came out, I heard about it some months later, and thought it was kind of intriguing. But it was quickly jumped on by Matt Moneymucker, the guy who founded the BFRO. He put it up onto a big screen TV. He had a Blu-ray copy of it, put it on a big screen TV, and they were able to see some remarkable detail, specifically this area right here. Now this doesn't look too bad, but when you look at the Blu-ray version of it, and they were just filming the big screen TV with a handheld camcorder, it still was much clearer than anything I've ever been able to do with it. And to me, immediately it leaped out that this is a person. This is, and of course, I know several people disagree with me on it. I was talking earlier about some of the comments I've gotten on my breakdown and Thinker Thunker.
I know several people
his version of this, his breakdown of this, I thought it was very interesting. The response I got to it, a lot of Thinker Thunker supporters looked at that and
I thought it was very interesting.
Just pour me a new one.
The response I got to
which is, it's okay. That's part of the territory. I knew going into this that there were going to be some videos where, if I disagreed with,
it's okay. It's part of the territory.
It was going to be horrible.
I knew going into this.
Hello, Maria. Something is wrong with your sound delay, echo. Okay. Well, thanks for the feedback. Let me check a setting real quick and make sure. Normally when I do these, I do a local recording first just to make sure. And then I play it back to check the sound recording levels and make sure there isn't. But let me check here.
And then I play it back to check the sound recording.
Bear with me.
Make sure there isn't. But let me check here.
Now I had my my sound on my computer up, and I was, like I said, I'm watching the stream as I'm streaming because I wanted to be able to see chat. So
my sound on my
I don't know if you're still hearing that.
Like I said, I'm watching the stream
or not. Let me check.
As I'm streaming because I wanted to be able to see chat.
So there is quite a bit of a delay
I don't know if you're still hearing that
between me recording and what you see.
So there is quite a bit of a delay.
Let's see here.
Between me recording and what you see.
Sources.
There is quite a bit of a delay.
Make sure. Sources. Devices. Video. Just what you wanted to see, another bigger version of my face, right? Brown Dwarf, greetings back at you. See if I can get rid of this. Before we do that, make sure built in.
Face, right? Brown Dwarf, greetings back at you.
Input built in.
Before we do that, make sure built in. Brown Dwarf, greetings back at you.
Let's try that. See if that makes a difference. I thought I had these settings straightened out, but apparently not.
See if that makes a difference.
It's all a learning process.
I thought I had these settings straightened out, but it's all a learning process.
All
I thought I
right.
had these settings
Okay.
straightened out. It's all a learning process.
Hey, Steve. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a lot of different breakdowns out there about this piece of footage.
Hey, Steve. Yeah.
Hey. Between myself, I don't know if Para Breakdown has looked at this one. He probably has. I just haven't seen it. I know Bigfoot Tony has looked at it. I actually helped Bigfoot Tony get his copy of the footage of this.
I don't know if Para Breakdown.
You know, Bigfoot Tony and I have a very good relationship.
Bigfoot Tony.
You know, we talk on Facebook every once in a while. Real nice guy, lives over in Cardiff, England. I broke down a video that he shot over in Wales one time. You know, we agree on a lot of things, but you know, we disagree on some things too.
I broke down a video.
And you know, that's fine. You know, it's okay to agree to disagree. And amongst, I think you'll find amongst people such as myself, Bigfoot Tony, Para Breakdown, and you know, maybe even Thinker Thunker, we would probably say the same thing. You know, it's okay to disagree. There's still mutual respect amongst, you know, the breakdowners, if that's what you want to call this group of people. But what's interesting is, you know, it's the followers of certain people, especially Thinker Thunker, who absolutely will eviscerate you if you dare to disagree with them. Followers of him, and I don't mean to browbeat those people, because I've had some good interactions with some of his followers too. But it's really interesting that a lot of these people who don't have a great deal of knowledge on the subject, you know, the first person they find is somebody like Thinker Thunker or you know, some others out there, and they think that that opinion is the only one, and the only one they will accept as fact. So, you know, it's just interesting. You know, this particular video is one that has gotten some of the more interesting comments. And
it's just interesting.
you know, I had a
this particular video.
yeah, Maria. I hate when people hate you for disagreeing. Yeah, that's just yeah. I feel the same way. And you know, and I told myself when I came into this, you know, can I remain?
I feel the same way. You know, and I told myself when I
remain friendly and remain calm in the face of some very harsh criticism. And most of the time, I do. Most of the time, I just ignore the horrible stuff. If it's a little bit derogatory, it's one thing. If somebody's using hate speech or you know, using foul language or something like that, I will generally delete those comments if I see them. However, every once in a while, somebody will post a comment that gets me kind of riled up. And somebody posted a comment on the Great North Bigfoot Breakdown. It is still over there. You can go over and read it and read my reply. And I wasn't even going to reply to that one, but the same person posted a comment on another breakdown, basically accusing me of being a plant from the military. And the only reason I'm doing this is because the military is trying to cover up Bigfoot and all this stuff, and it was pretty comical. But you know, kind of in a roundabout way, you know, attacked my credibility and my honesty. So I came back over to this video, and I took him to task. Everything he commented on, I replied to, and basically said, look, you're wrong. But I won't go into that too depth. But one thing the person did say was that during the interview with the now infamous interview that Thinker Thunker did with the cinematographer of this piece of footage, Apparently the person said that there was a helicopter out there, and this person who commented said, you know, there was a helicopter out there. How come they didn't spot any people if this is a person? Apparently my response to that is, well, there's a helicopter out there and they didn't spot any people. How come they didn't spot any Bigfoots out there? My whole thing with this, you know, being a person, Thinker Thunker, and again, no disrespect to him, the whole premise of this being a Bigfoot is that the cinematographer didn't know of any people across the river. That is real thin. If that's going to be your sole source of evidence towards this figure being a Bigfoot, right? When everything else says it's not.
Your sole source of evidence.
Let me read a little chat here. Blue Girl Friday. They're called sheep. They're yeah. There you go. Mary C. Hello back at you. Pleasant surprise. Been with you a long time. Love your channel. Thank you, Mary C. I appreciate that very much. This is something I'm going to start doing more often. Hopefully once a week or twice a month, whenever I can get the time. Something I haven't done a whole lot in the past, so I'm still learning the process. It took me a long time to figure out which software to use. I had to get a sound mixing device in order to be able to take my sound and put it back in the computer and stream it to the internet. So it's just taking me some time to figure out this, get the proper equipment and everything. So if you have any questions, if you have anything you want to say about any piece of footage, be more than happy to discuss that with you. So Blue Girl Friday, you're still echoing. Okay, thank you. Let's see. Okay, sound is down. Does anybody else hear me echoing? Is it echoing bad?
Blue Girl Friday, you're still echoing.
Turn this down a little bit.
Let's see. Okay, sound is down. Does anybody else hear me echoing? Is it echoing bad?
Bear with me here while I work on my settings just a little more.
Anybody else hear me echoing? Is it echoing bad? Bear with me here while I work on my settings just a little more.
There's that again. Let's try this. That should be turned off. Sound output. I don't know if this is going to make a difference. Stream only sound audio output. Hopefully. Alright, well I just made another change. Hopefully that'll help. Again, I'm still very much learning how to do this.
Alright, well I just made another change. Hopefully that'll help. Again, I'm still
Houston Bigfooter, thanks for the feedback.
How to do this.
Okay, you can hear it. Carolyn Hardman, yes I do. Happy listening to. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for joining me today.
Houston Bigfooter, thanks for the feedback.
All right, so what do we want to talk about?
Carolyn Hardman, yes I do. Happy listening to. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for joining me today.
Interview sounded more, Steve Dingman, the interview sounded more like a sales pitch to get more people out and rent DVD. Yeah, what I saw of it kind of did as well.
Interview sounded more like a sales pitch to get more people.
I said in the earlier stream, again, I didn't have chat
what I saw
figured out at that time.
Kind of did as
like I said,
again, I didn't have chat.
There's a lot of things I think Thinker Thunker does very well. And a lot of things that we disagree on.
Like I said,
and Thinker Thunker, it was a video I saw of his that convinced me that I could do this and have my own kind of niche in this realm that's different from Para Breakdown and different from Thinker Thunker. Different in the way that Para Breakdown. I think if I was as close to anybody out there, it would probably be Para Breakdown, and that I tend to debunk things a lot. However, what I don't like about Para Breakdown is he can be very crass about it, and he's very kind of in your face. This person's a hoaxer. Consider the source. This person's a known hoaxer. Everything he does is a hoax. That type of thing. And then the other end of the spectrum, you have somebody like Thinker Thunker, who is much more apt to confirm that something is real, and then kind of ignore certain things that say it's not. You know, I wanted to be kind of in the middle there. I want to be able to let a piece of video evidence, whatever its form, convince me of either its authenticity or of it being a fake. So, what else we got here? Jetrox Detroit. What about that guy on Paranormal Breakdown? He's my least favorite. I think he thinks everything is fake. Yeah, Phil Poling over Para Breakdown. You know, I like his work. He does some really good work. He did a breakdown. What was the name of that video? It was a thermal video of a possible Bigfoot up in the state of, I think it was the state of Washington. Did a really thorough investigative breakdown on that piece of footage that I thought he did fantastic on. Now, I can't remember off the top of my head if he said he thought it was real or not. I think he was leaning that way. However, you know, I hear what you're saying here. It's like I just said, he tends to be a little bit more crass. The guy's a faker. I like to be more of, this is the footage, this is what I think of the footage, and that's it. I don't really like to go and attack the uploader so much. That's really not what I like to do. Consider the source is okay. There's times when that's necessary, but you know, I like to concentrate on the footage. Mary C., you've always been fair. Tony and Thinker Thunker and Para are great too. It's okay to disagree. That's why we're here. Absolutely. Thank you very much, Mary. Yeah, I agree. Tony and I, we have a great relationship. Bigfoot Tony.
Thank you very much.
I did a breakdown. When I met him, he asked me to break down one of his videos, and you know, I thought it was a very interesting piece of video. One thing that I think sets me apart from some people is that you know, there are a lot of videos out there that I think look good, but I don't see enough of them for me to say, yeah, absolutely, it's a Bigfoot. I'm willing to raise my hand and say, I don't know. All right, and that's the majority of the videos that are out there. You can't tell whether it's you can't say it's 100% real, or you can't say it's 100% fake. I have a few of those, but like Cascade Bigfoot, right? The one I did here just recently. You know, it looks really good. I think it's quite possible they caught a Sasquatch. However, you know, Phil Poling would look at that, and he would look at their other videos and say, you know, they're all misidentifications. They have some videos on their YouTube channel that I think are nothing more than pareidolia. However, you have to give credit where credit is due, and I think that video is very possible, and I say again possible, that they did capture a Sasquatch standing behind the tree, not 30 feet away from it, at least from what you can see in the video. You know, again, there's a lot that you can't see. You know, you can't really make a detailed analysis of height or anything like that. However, from what you can see, it looks pretty impressive. I'm going to be doing one here sometime in the near future on the Alberta Bigfoot footage, and that's going to kind of come down in the same boat as those. It looks really good, but you don't really see enough to make a definitive guess of whether it actually is a Bigfoot or if it's a fake. Most videos that are out there, they fall into the realm of it's fake, it's pareidolia, you know, or it's a bush, right? There's just a few out there that I absolutely 100% are positive that are real. You know, Patterson Gimlin. You know, I'm pretty positive that one's real. Well, not pretty positive. I'm 100% positive it's real. I think the Freeman footage, I think it's real. And one that's very controversial that people will probably disagree with me on is the Redwoods footage, also known as the Playboy footage. That's one that I think is real. And I'll read some chat here, and I'll get to that in a second. Is the Redwoods footage? Detrox Troy, what do you think the most real footage is? Hey, we just walked into that. Besides Patterson, okay. Yeah, I just talked about that in a second. I'll get more on that in a second.
Troy, what do you think?
I like everyone you've mentioned for all different reasons. Phil is brash, yes, but if he has plenty of info, he's done a great job. Yeah, Phil does some very in-depth breakdowns, and what I like about Phil is that, you know, he's not afraid to dig into the past and do some real investigative work into some footage. And I thought he does a good job on some of them. Again, kind of brash sometimes, but you know, that's different, just a different style. Excuse me. Getting back to the ones I think are real, I mentioned Patterson Gimlin, and I mentioned the Freeman footage. I mentioned the Playboy footage, also known as Redwoods footage. If you're not familiar with that one, filmed by a Playboy video crew doing a video shoot with Playboy playmate Anna Marie Goddard, I believe her name was. Excuse me.
Filmed by a Playboy video crew doing a video shoot with Playboy playmate Anna Marie Goddard, I believe her name was.
And as they're driving, I guess it's an RV through a small road into some thick timber, they capture something in their headlights that was they thought was a Bigfoot.
And as they're driving,
on first review of that, you really can't see anything. But with the enhanced footage, something happens at about the 1.5 second mark, which is remarkable. And
with the enhanced footage,
what that is, in case you haven't seen it, it is the display of an erect penis from this creature. Now, not only is anatomically speaking, is this thing correct for an ape, but the behavior is also correct, and it was described by Dr. Meldrum as typical ape behavior is kind of a threat, kind of a threat display that's very typical with ape behavior. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why I think that piece of footage is real.
That's very typical.
Steve Damien, I like M.K. Davis. Also, I don't agree with some of his ideas on the massacre. Yeah, me too. You and I are of the same word there. M.K. Davis, I love the man's work. The man's work with stabilizing footage, enhancing footage, is, as far as I know, absolutely second to none. That being said, I too disagree with his massacre theory. I don't think there's really anything in that footage that really backs that up. I think he's talking about the massacre footage. I think he's basing that off of the herniation that's seen on Patty's right thigh. And he has theorized that that's not a herniation, that is an impact from a high-powered bullet. And then he goes in and he talks about other things he sees in the footage, which he believes leads to some kind of massacre. I think that's really reaching. One thing that I try to stay away from is looking at really small details in some of this footage. To give you an example, I'm going to pull the chat down for just a second, and I'm going to pull it play the footage here a little bit. Okay, so here's this footage from the Great North. Sorry, I'm clearing my throat so much. I'm going to walk this through just a little bit and see if it doesn't lock up. There's a lot of people out there that are insisting that there's more Bigfoot in this video. All right, as this is moving along, you see dark spots up here. I don't know if this is what they're talking about. But a lot of people would look at some of these dark spots and say, hey, there's another head poking up right there, or something like that. Yeah, these little tiny areas, very small details in some of these footage, you have to be very careful of. Because what you think might be something real is not. It's just something that's discolored, and it appears to move because of the motion blur that's being imposed on the footage by the movement of the camera. So I'm not saying it's not 100% not real. I'm just saying you have to be very careful with it, and because what you see, it might be completely something different. So I tend to stay away from stuff like that. Let me bring up my chat here again. Where'd it go? Pardon me.
So I tend to stay away from stuff like that.
Let's see here. Where was that? More chat. Steve Digman. Bob Gimlin is amazing. Yeah, he is. Rosa Stevens. I'm with the Patterson Gimlin, and the Freeman footage is real as well. Awesome. Patty and Robert Dawson's Face in the Bushes are my two for real videos out there right now. Yeah, I don't know if you're Steve, if you saw my breakdown on Dawson's video. That was one of the more in-depth videos I did on his piece of footage. Was the Face in the Bushes. Another one I think is real. And normally that kind of goes against my convention for what I would want to call real. Normally, if I see a Bigfoot, I want to see the whole thing. I want to see it walk. I want to see the gait. I want to see limb proportions are huge with me. So obviously you weren't seeing it with the Face of Bigfoot in Dobson's video, but I thought that face looked like Patty. It really did. When I looked at it and stabilized it and zoomed in on it, it looked too good for it to be anything else. And I don't think that Mr. Dodson has either the monetary ability or the technical ability to have been able to fake that. So, where are we at here? Mr. Dodson has Rosa Stevens, I like MCAM Patty, but he loses me to Texas or down south farm habitation videos. Yeah, I understand that. However, the fence climber video in that series, I think, is very intriguing. If you go look at MK's work in there, where he talks about the fence climber, he has several videos on that. That's a very intriguing piece of footage, and I think could possibly be real. And the way it moves, the way it walks, and the way it just straddles the fence when it's exiting the little farm area there, leads me to believe that it's a pretty large creature. And Mr. Davis has a clip somewhere, or a still shot somewhere where he's standing next to that fence and superimposes it with the footage, and you can see that footage comes up like mid-level chest. So whatever that creature is, it's pretty big. It swings its leg right over that thing like it's not in there. All right. Where are you at here? What's my opinion on crypto reality? I'm going to be very, very open about this. I have no opinion on crypto reality. I honestly have not taken any look at his work whatsoever. However, this is the third or fourth inquiry I've gotten on him recently, so I guess I need to go take a look at that. I know the guy's got a lot of followers. Ontario Sasquatch, another one that I've gotten some questions on. The guy has a lot of followers, so I'll just have to go take a look at it and form my own opinion. So sorry about that. Can't answer that one. Ron Ulysses Swanson. You like potatoes? Sorry about that. I like Ron Swanson. There's a lot of Ron Swanson quotes around this house. All right. What about the one done with a mirror where you see a huge white 15-foot Bigfoot and two other little Bigfoot fighting each other? G-Trox Detroit. Are you speaking of one of MK's videos, the Texas, if I'm thinking correctly, the altercation video? Is that what it's called? Is that what you're talking about there, Mr. Detroit? Texas, I'm thinking correctly, the altercation video? What's it like, Ron Ulysses Swanson, what's it like giving a Guy Fieri shadow? I have no idea what you're talking about. What's it like, Ron Ulysses Swanson, what's it like giving a Guy Fieri shadow? It's all good. It's all good. Having a conversation, it's all good. Steve Dingman, I've watched crypto for years, and he has nothing but shadow Sasquatches. Yeah, there's quite a few out there that have nothing but shadow Sasquatches. One of the first breakdowns I did was from a guy from called Frosted Forest Sasquatch. I don't know if you're familiar with him or not. Before I broke down his footage, and the footage in question has been removed. I don't believe it's on his YouTube page anymore. But it was called Awesome Bigfoot Spotted Ducking Up and Down. Again, it's one of my very first breakdowns. I went in there, I was able to show that it wasn't a Bigfoot. It was just a hole in the foliage in the distance, where the foliage around this hole was lit up by bright sunlight, in direct sunlight, and there's this hole in it that created a dark spot. And it didn't hear anything from the guy for several months. And then he, came and attacked me and said, "What the hell are you talking about? Why didn't you do this? And how you're wrong on this." And I said, "Look, I'll be happy to take a look at it again." But he never got back to me. There's a lot of researchers out there that show nothing but leaves and shadows and stuff. Let me read some chat and I'll get right back on that.
would show nothing but.
Did you talk Detroit? Oh, you're talking about the altercation video. Yeah. What you were saying earlier about that whole series, that's one of those. You know, I love M.K. Davis. That's one of those where you just got to raise your hands up and say, you know what?
You were saying earlier.
There's not enough there to make a determination if it's a Sasquatch or not. Honestly, that's all I can say.
That's one of those where you just got to raise your hands and say, you know what? There's not enough there.
Let's see here. Houston Bigfoot. I've often found a big F-face and run of Robert's vids. You can see it squinting its eyes and everything. Yep. Yep. He has a couple of them on there.
Houston Bigfoot.
Good job debunking the juvenile Bigfoot video. Thank you very much. That guy. What was his name again?
He has a couple of them.
I can't. You know, I just did that video a few days ago. I can't remember his name. A lot of his vids have that type of same type of thing. A lot of rapid movement by the camera, and you know he says something moves, and you know he thinks it's a Bigfoot, which I don't think it is.
Same type of thing.
Rapid movement by the camera. Steve Damon, yeah, I avoid the shadow researchers. Yeah, I try to as well, but sometimes you know I get a lot of requests for breakdowns, and I try to accommodate as best I can. Mary C. Hope Robert Dawson is better. Says say a prayer for him. Yeah. I heard that he was battling some form of cancer. I think he has a brain tumor of some sort. I haven't heard anything from anybody about him in quite some time. So yeah, I hope he's doing better. Ron Ulysses Swanson. You know what they say about big feet? I don't know what they say about big feet. They have a big smell. Well, I don't know. I know mine do. I have a dog with big feet. Now getting back to some of these shadowy things, shadow Bigfoot, and you know a lot of pareidolia people call Bigfoot. A lot of that was started, at least in my opinion, was started by a guy by the name of Scott Carpenter. You can look him up; he's on YouTube. So he, you know, his thing is he goes out there and he puts the camera on his back and walks through the forest. And the prevailing thought that is, you know, if I'm facing in the opposite direction, the Sasquatch behind me will stick its head out because it thinks it's not looking at me, or I'm not looking at it. And you know, he has all kinds of pictures that he says are Bigfoot. Now, my opinion is if you have to draw a line around a piece of photo evidence or video evidence and draw the outline of the Bigfoot to let so people can see it, to me that's not evidence, that's the power of suggestion. Right. There's one reason why that's one thing I never draw lines around things to show, hey, look, there it is. No, if it's there, you should be able to see it with some kind of, you know, natural enhancement of the footage itself, not having to draw a line around it. And ever since he started doing that, a lot of people have started copying that technique. And you've gotten just a tremendous amount of false positives using that. And, you know, literally, the YouTube has exploded with people using that same technique. Just a tremendous amount. Okay, where are we at here? You like that thumbnail? Yeah, I like that one too. That one pretty much says it. All right, what about that guy from the big thicket that went to the camp and was totally destroyed? Apparently some people were killed. I'm not familiar with that one. I'm not familiar with that one at all. Houston Bigfooter, I have the time stamp, and what vid is it you want to check out? You can see it plain as day. You have to remind me what you're talking about there, Houston Bigfooter. I kind of lost my train of thought there. Let's see here. Gemini Vlogs, Beauty and Lore. Thanks for joining us today. Thanks for hanging out. I got about another 10 minutes, maybe 5 minutes or so before I got to cut off and go be a dad. That's my primary job as a retired stay-at-home dad. So I'm gonna have to get back to work on that. Let's see what else we got here. That's my primary job. Scott Carpenter is a nut. Yeah, he's definitely got some interesting videos and other things out there. Let's see what else we got here. That's my primary. What are my thoughts on the price of eggs in communist China? Wow, that's another good question. I have no idea what the price of eggs are in communist China. What are my thoughts on not my area of expertise. But thanks for lightening things up here. All right. Oh, a bid from Robert Dodson. Yeah, if you want to,
thanks for lightening things up here.
if you want to hit me up over on my Facebook page, Try to have a paranormal, facebook.com, try to have a paranormal, and shoot me a link to that. You know, Robert Dodson's got a lot of videos up. So, you know, if you could shoot me a link and a timestamp, yeah, absolutely, I'd love to go take a look at it. Ron Ulysses Swanson. Personally, I don't think it's worth the wear and tear in the hen's rear, but that's just me. Well, it's a good thing my wife is in here reading this because, you know, we have chickens out in my backyard and she loves her chickens. Don't mess with her chickens. Speaking of which, I have to go check for eggs.
Well, it's a good thing my wife is in here reading this because, you know, we have chickens out in my backyard.
Della Condan, I like your work, Try. Have you noticed on TGBF's vid you can see the costume lift? Are you talking about the TGBF Patterson Gimlet footage? Is that the one you're talking about, the costume lift? If that's the one you're talking about, interesting. I was looking at an old video. Who was it? You know, I'm doing a lot of research right now, trying to put together a video of why I think Patterson Gimlin is real. Okay, so in the research for that, I'm looking at a lot of different YouTube accounts and a lot of different footage, doing research on Philip Morris and Bob Horonis, you know, people who said they faked it. One of the people I came across, God, what was his name? The guy who made a suit and said it looked exactly like Patterson Gimlin, but it didn't. Anyway, one of them, there is a really well done close-up of the feet done by M.K. Davis. And where you can see the toes curl up when Patter's getting ready to plant the foot. Somebody got on there and said, look, you can see the suit lift right there. And if we're talking about the same area, I know what you're talking about. There is a little dark spot that kind of over the period, over one frame, looks like it's kind of like a suit lifting up. But really what that is, taking a closer look at it, that's an aberration in the film. It's just a dark spot in the film itself. You got to remember, most people have copies of this footage that are second, third, fourth generation copies. Bill Munns, if you don't know who he is, he was able to get a first generation copy from Patterson's widow. And a lot of things that a lot of people were seeing over the years in that footage, like hand curling, some other things, like I said, little tiny details you got to be careful with. But one of the things that was seen was the hand curling, and when Munns digitized the first generation copy, you couldn't see that anymore. So what you're seeing was aberration in the footage caused by multiple generations of copies. So like I said, you got to be real careful when you look at very, very small details in footage, especially older footage or poor footage. Even the footage I have here up on the screen, which was shot in IMAX, when it's zoomed in like this, you got to be careful about the small details because what you're seeing might just be aberration or distortion. Okay, I have to get going. I really appreciate everybody joining me today. Ron Ulysses Swanson, thank you for the funny comments, man. I love them. I have to get going. I really appreciate it. Delica, not Patty, Timber Giant. Oh, okay, I'll look at that one again. All right, I still have that footage here somewhere. I'll go look at that again. But Della Condan, make sure I'm pronouncing it correctly. Yeah, thanks for the heads up there. I'll go take a look at that. All right, I still have that. Gemini Vlogs, yes, Bill Munn's digital version is fabulous. Yep, I agree. Timber Giant's vid, you can see Della Condan again. Timber Giant's vid, you can see the back of the guy in the costume. The rug slides up as it leans forward. Okay, I'll go take a look at that again. That's something I definitely missed in my breakdown of that. Timberland Giant is a hoaxer. Just too many times he could have waited and got the squats on film. You know, again, on that footage, you know, there's a part there that I didn't go over in my breakdown, but there's a part in his footage where he turns the camera around and starts doing a selfie. You know, I would think if you have something that incredible in front of you, you'd want to keep the camera on the subject. I would think if you caught something that incredible, you'd want to do a post-operation investigation, get other people out there to take, you know, measurements and stuff. But that's, you know, I guess for another discussion. Do I think the IMAX is real? You're talking about the one we have up here right now. No, well, I think it's real, but I think it's a real person. That's my opinion. Everything about this says person. This is, I'll go over this real quickly again. This was made huge by Thinker Thunker's interpretation in his interview with one of the cinematographers, who said it couldn't be a person because there were no people across the river. Really, the only assertion that it's a Bigfoot is because there wasn't any people over there, and that's really a very weak piece of logic to say that it's a Bigfoot. Everything about this, where it's shot at, is an area where Sasquatch is not known to live, and that's borne up by the distribution of sightings across North America. I don't see anything that would confirm it size-wise, the way it walks. There isn't enough for anybody to confirm how fast it's going or anything like that, but everything to me says it's a human. So, my opinion based on the facts of the situation. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I have to get going. I got to go take care of kids and chickens and everything. But man, it was good to get on here and to interact with people. Thank you very much. I have to get going in real time, near real time. So thank you all very much. Again, I'm going to start doing these probably either bi-weekly or weekly. So I'm sorry, bi-monthly or weekly. So that's it for this time. All right. Thanks again for joining me. Have a nice day.